Orange juice in the refrigerator with just a swallow left in the container.
Bill, why'd you leave me the hell alone?
But that don't make no sense. You should have just finished it. Don't put it back in the refrigerator with just a swallow in the container.
Eddie Murphy joins Richard Pryor and Red Fox playing gangsters in Harlem in the 1930s in Harlem Nights. That's one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Harlem Nights, and this one is a real disappointment coming from Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, a recycled collection of 1930s gangster cliches that's like stuff we've seen 100 times before. The movie stars Pryor as the owner of a successful Harlem nightclub in the 30s, and Murphy is his adopted son. The club is so successful that a rival mobster named Bugsy Calhoun sends his sexy girlfriend by to check it out.
What would a woman that fine want in a big, fat, nasty, greasy, fat, stank, bloated, cheesy, backed, 12 sandwich-eating bastard? What does she want with it?
Oh, she likes fat guys.
Bugsy the gangster wants a piece of the action, and Murphy wants to fight back, but Pryor has a cooler head.
You know, when you die, when you're 89, you got your children and your grandchildren around the bed, that's cool. It ain't cool to die at 27. I'm not gonna let you do that to yourself. I'm not gonna let you do it to me. Because they kill you, they're gonna have to kill me. Because I'm gonna kill them.
Taking care of business includes riding herd on the resident madam, played by Della Reese.
So, baby, how we doing?
We made about 200.
How they only make $200?
I don't never say nothing to you when the crap table and the bar come up short.
Because the bar and the crap table never come up short, just the girls.
Are you saying I'm stealing?
You in charge of the girls, right?
I am in charge of the girls.
Are you in charge of the girls?
I am in charge of the girls.
Either you or them got a problem with their arithmetic.
Red Fox has a supporting role in the movie as a nearsighted croupier.
Where's the hash?
In the middle cabinet on the 3rd shelf.
That's not hash, it's tuna fish.
Well, make some tuna then.
You got to do something about them eyes, Benny. You got my mouth all ready for hash and eggs, and you ain't got no hash.
Almost everything in this movie is borrowed from other places, from old gangster movies, from the Cotton Club, from standard Damon Runyon stories. The only thing that's a little original is that nobody in this movie talks as if it's really 1938. The dialogue is distractingly filled with 4- and 12-letter words that sound at home in the nightclub acts of Pryor and Murphy, but in this movie, they only indicate that they don't really want to make a period picture. They just want to dress up in old clothes, ride around in old cars, and do their thing. I know that Eddie Murphy is the #1 box office star in America right now, but sooner or later, his reputation is not going to be enough to carry turkeys like this. He's a genuinely talented actor, but unless he's willing to take a few chances, he runs the risk of sabotaging his career before he gets the chance to do the really good stuff that he's capable of.
Well, I was appalled, too, at the movie, and, you know, this is his first job writing and directing a picture. And he really doesn't show anything in the direction of this film that is special. I don't know why he did it other than an ego thing. Now, as far as the script is concerned, it's to say that it took things from the Cotton Club, the Francis Coppola picture, is insulting that film. There's nothing there except the costumes. It has no music. Isn't that interesting? You
have a band in the background and it just plays background music.
There is not one musical number. They didn't want to spend the money. They couldn't find anyone creative enough to write the songs. You would think that would be entertaining. No. Instead, there's a lot of foul language, and there is a lot of racism, black against white and vice versa. So much so you wonder, you know, what are they doing with that stuff here? It's just is that thrown in for entertainment value? The whole picture is dead in terms of the way scenes take place. They go on, and then you're waiting for something to happen.
Every once in a while you get a scene that is obviously there only because it's the sign of amateurish writing, is that he puts a scene in just to explain something that couldn't be explained any other way. So everybody gets together and talks about something so that you will know some plot point that isn't interesting anyway. I think the key thing that Murphy has to ask himself about this script that he wrote is, if somebody else wrote it and submitted it to him, would he have wanted to film it?
Yeah.
And the answer would be no, it would go right into the circular file because it's a totally unoriginal, uninventive, uncreative, and unfunny collection of recycled cliches.
I just want to reemphasize how dreary the picture is to watch. There's so much hate on the screen. Hate white, hate black. I just caught me totally by surprise.
Hate women, too. Because unless I miss somebody, there's not a single woman in this movie who is not a prostitute.
Or a madam.
Or a madam. And that isn't even looked at in a negative way. That's just doing business. And at one point, Eddie Murphy actually shoots through the head a girl who has just made love to him and who is still in bed with him just before she was going to try to kill him. This is really negative, bad vibration kind of stuff. How anybody thought it belonged in a comedy, that it was funny, shows really twisted values.
Yeah, I feel sorry for young people who go to see it because Eddie Murphy is their hero. Coming up next, The Little Mermaid, the new Disney animated feature film based on a fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen.
I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing.
Okay, enough of Harlem Nights. Our next film is a real delight, something quite special. More proof that the animated feature film is alive and well again now as the 80s come to a close. The movie is Disney Studios' The Little Mermaid, the beautifully drawn story of a mermaid named Ariel who wants to become human and marry the prince of her dreams. The film is full of good songs, and here's the mermaid singing about her life's desire to shed her tail fin.
Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down a, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun.
Some of the sea creatures, especially a crab with a reggae beat, think that life under the sea is just fine. This is the film's best musical number.
Under the sea, darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore, they work all day. Out in the sun, they slave away. While we're devoting full time, you floating under the sea.
Objecting to his daughter's desire to turn human is King Triton, who manages to crack the crab for information on his daughter.
I know you've been keeping something from me.
Keeping something?
About Ariel?
Ariel?
In love?
The force of evil in the story, and she is magnificently drawn, is the sea witch Ursula, who persuades Ariel to make a deal. Ariel can become human for a while and engage the prince, but only at the risk of losing her voice to the evil Ursula.
Poor unfortunate souls in pain, in need. This one longing to be thinner, that one wants to get the girl, and do I help them? Yes, indeed.
This whole film is a delight. I have nothing but compliments for The Little Mermaid. The drawing is rich, especially with so many scenes underwater. When I look at all those bubbles there, I'm glad they took the time, the money to animate all those bubbles. They're fabulous. You know, think of underwater sequences, the water rushing by in Bambi and the little bowl in Pinocchio. The water can really make an animated film important. The story is tightly told. Credit writers, directors John Musker and Ron Clements for all that. They also did the entertaining animated picture of The Great Mouse Detective. The music is superior here, created mostly by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, who did The Little Shop on Horrors. You know, with animated pictures, the picture is the star, and the names don't get told until maybe a generation later when we start to hear of these heroes of animation. So let's name some of these people now. And I think they've also created a classic character in that little crab named Sebastian. I think he could have a life a bit like Jiminy the Cricket. And best of all, this is a film for all ages. Young kids, I think, will find the picture not frightening too much, and it is witty, witty, witty for adults.
I agree with you. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I enjoyed everything about it, including the music. And oftentimes in modern-day animated songs, the music has sounded just like Muzak with words. The music in this song, in this movie, is terrific, especially that reggae number, Under the Sea.
Right.
It's music like the great Disney music of the past, When You Wish Upon a Star and Zippity Doo-Dah, stuff like that. This movie bears comparison with the great Disney classics. This really is a movie as good as those great movies from 30, 40, 50 years ago that we keep comparing modern-day animated films to negatively. This returns to the great tradition, and I liked everything. I think the thing I liked the best was the character is active. She's not just a little girl that things happen to. She's up there. She's going to go to the surface. She's going to find her prince. She's going to take care of business, and so you can really identify with that.
Also, there were no duds. I mean, it wasn't cheaped out in any way. The drawing of the King Titan, her father, Triton, is really good. That Ursula the Witch is a fabulous concoction.
She is right up there with the great villainesses of the past, with the evil stepmother, with the witch. She's in that category.
She's a bad lady. But it's a very good film. Coming up next, 6 women are the best of friends in Steel Magnolias, about Southern belles who are stronger than they look.
The only thing that separates us from the animals is our ability to accessorize.
Our next movie is Steel Magnolias, based on the successful stage play about 6 Southern women who like to gossip and hang out at the beauty parlor, but who are maybe just a little bit tougher than they look. The casting makes up an intriguing roll call of interesting actresses, and you can see most of them in this scene, where Shirley MacLaine quizzes Daryl Hannah about her marital status, while Dolly Parton, Olympia Dukakis, Sally Field, and Julia Roberts try to eavesdrop on every word.
Are you married or not? These are not difficult questions.
Well, I can't talk about it.
Of course you can.
The heart of the movie involves the mother-daughter relationship between Sally Field and Julia Roberts, who has serious diabetes and could risk her life by getting pregnant.
Mama, I don't know why you have to make everything so difficult. I look at having this baby as the opportunity of a lifetime. Sure, there may be risk involved. That's true for anybody. But you get through it and life goes on.
MacLaine has some of the best scenes in the movie as a crotchety local woman who always seems to be in a bad mood.
I managed in a few decades to marry the 2 most worthless men in the universe, and then proceeded to have the 3 most ungrateful children ever conceived. The only reason people are nice to me is because I have more money than God.
I like the scenes involving Dolly Parton and Daryl Hannah as an older woman who knows everything about beauty shops and a younger woman who looks like she needs one.
I'm a beautician. Glamour technician. Glamour technician.
Steel Magnolias is kind of a sneaky movie. It starts out as a comedy with wall-to-wall one-liners, and then eventually a serious theme emerges as the newlywed daughter has complications resulting from diabetes and pregnancy. Now, I could never really believe that all of these women could be so effortlessly funny and sarcastic and have perfect timing and always say the right thing exactly on cue, like Southern belles doing stand-up, but I didn't mind because it was fun listening to them. The final scenes of the movie are intended to be tearjerkers, and they do work, especially a couple of heartfelt speeches by Daryl Hannah and Sally Field. And I think this movie's secret ambition is to be a little like Terms of Endearment. Well, it's not anywhere near that good, but it is entertaining, and it sure does have a lot of quotable dialogue.
My criticisms are exactly the ones that you said, only I feel them more strongly, and I don't recommend the picture. I think it is Southern belles doing stand-up, except that the centerpiece of this film, unlike Terms of Endearment, where the disease that Deborah Winger contracted was sort of an add-on and wasn't really critical to the beauty of that story or to the relationships depicted.
Oh, I disagree with your entire interpretation of Terms of Endearment.
Wait a second.
But go ahead.
What I'm saying is, you could remove that, and you would have interesting people in Terms of Endearment. I'll deal with you on that. You could remove it, okay?
Oh, well,
it didn't have to happen, okay? Here, what happens medically has to happen because it's really the guts of the story, the way it is constructed. I never saw it on stage. I'm saying, as a film, it is the back half of this whole movie, and that is unfortunate because it's so apparent what's going to happen. It's so well foreshadowed that everything that spins off of it seems manufactured. And so I see manufactured comedy followed by manufactured drama.
Well, this movie is a manufactured movie. It's a manipulative movie. All I'm saying is that, first of all, it has 6 really good actresses who are really good individually and with each other, and they're given some really witty dialogue. For example, Dolly Parton saying that one of the things that sets us apart from the animals is our ability to accessorize. Now, that's a funny line, and there are other funny lines in the movie. And so I enjoyed it on that level, while at the same time agreeing with a lot. Yeah, in a sense, we saw the same movie. It's just that I liked it more than you did because I liked what was there, you didn't like the fact
I didn't like what was there, Rod.
Well, then we didn't see the same movie.
No.
Okay.
Don't try and find a middle ground here. I wouldn't recommend this picture to a friend. I thought that there were individual moments, a couple. Dolly Parton, I think, hit everything perfectly.
Well, okay, let me.
She hit everything perfectly, but then Shirley MacLaine is trotted out as a curmudgeon all the time.
She's fine. She's fine. She's wonderful.
No.
But,
she's a wonderful actress, but
yes, she's good
what
in this
she's
movie.
forced to do.
What I was reminded of as I saw this movie was the fact that Dolly Parton, who has been used rarely in the movies and sometimes completely wrongly, like in Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, is a wonderful movie comedian. I wish we saw her 2-3 times a year.
I know that at Oscar time, Sally Field is going to get an Oscar nomination because she has the most emotional role. Well, I'll tell you, the best performance in the picture, I thought, was Dolly Parton's. I think she is a special talent, and it's good to see her used that way. No, not so much for the film. I didn't care for it.
I think you're right. Coming up next, Meg Tilly is at the center of sexual intrigue among French aristocrats in Valmont.
Ready?
Yeah?
Now let go.
Our next film is called Valmont, and it tells the same story of sexual intrigue in 18th century France as last year's hit Dangerous Liaisons. In fact, it's based on the same book, and Valmont is the name of one of the key players, an inveterate womanizer. Colin Firth plays Valmont, and here he tries to get under the skin of Meg Tilly, a seemingly happily married woman, eventually quite undone by his approach.
I'm in love.
You're in love.
Yes.
Then why aren't you with her?
I am with her. I'm talking to her right now.
You shouldn't have said that.
Well, why not? Is it wrong to be in love?
No, as long as the feeling's mutual and legitimate.
What does that mean? You don't love me?
Of course I don't love you.
Meg Tilly is really quite beguiling in this film. Another one of Valmont's targets is a 15-year-old virgin, a girl whose hand has been promised in marriage to a rival man. Valmont has been asked to seduce the girl and prevent the marriage by another game player played by Annette Bening, here accompanying the girl to the opera.
Vicomte.
Madame. Mademoiselle? Won't you introduce me to your enchanting friend?
Cecile, if you allow your hand to be held too long, men will take it as an encouragement.
Eventually, the film turns into a love quadrangle among Valmont and 3 women.
If you had your choice of all the ladies present, in whose arms would you spend the night?
Now, even if you've already seen Dangerous Liaisons, this version is highly recommended by me. The characters seem less evil here and more sad, and the issues that they are dealing with take on more of a timeless quality. We're brought up short when more than one character questions why someone would want to marry their lover and ruin a good thing. Valmont was directed by Milos Forman, whose last film was equally visually splendid, Amadeus. Here he manages to make, again, an epic film in terms of sets and locations, and yet an intensely personal film in terms of character.
I liked it very much, too, and of course I like Dangerous Liaisons. I think the interesting thing about these 2 movies by 2 good directors, Stephen Frears and Milos Forman, with the same characters, the same plot, more or less, is that you could look at them as a double feature and not really feel as if you were going over the same ground twice, because style and tone and performance is everything in both movies. And the difference between the 2, I think, is that Frears went more for the cerebral. These people would rather talk about lovemaking than make love. And I think the Foreman approach is more voluptuous. They would really, despite all of their scheming and all their manipulating, they are also physically very passionate people, and so the lovemaking in his movie seems a little more real.
That's one way of interpreting it. For me, I thought that the motives of these people were much more ambiguous. It was very clear that those people were game players in the first film, The Dangerous Liaisons. Here, I wasn't so sure if they were doing what they wanted to do or they just somehow couldn't express themselves in a more direct way. These people were hurting, I felt, a little bit more.
See, you're really agreeing with my analysis, because what I'm saying is that to some degree, these people really do have feelings, and the feelings are involved in their lovemaking. And in the first film, you felt that there were no feelings at all until the end. And then in both films, you get that zinger, which is that these people who think they can play with other people's hearts find out that their own heart has actually been touched, and that comes as a big surprise.
Well, through the 2 centuries that this novel of letters has been around, there have been many, many stage interpretations and many film interpretations, and they've been mostly good ones. Let's take another look now at the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs down for Eddie Murphy's dreadful Harlem Nights, his first writing and directing job. Racism, sexism, slack dialogue, and the absence of music combined to make this one of the most disappointing films of the year. 2 most enthusiastic thumbs up for The Little Mermaid, a Disney animated feature cartoon as good as the classic ones they've made. A split vote on the film of the play, Steel Magnolias. I found both the comedy and the heavy drama to be artificial. Roger felt that the many fine performances more than made up for the story's faults. And 2 thumbs up for Milos Forman's Valmont, another telling of the French story of characters coping badly with love and marriage. And just one note, last week on our show about the best films of the 80s, I credited director Stephen Frears with making the film Sid and Nancy. That's not true. It was Alex Cox who made that film, and my credit to Alex Cox, although Stephen Frears is a fine director in his own right.
Yes, he is. And of this week's shows, I think that the one I really liked the most was The Little Mermaid, and I was surprised because even though I've liked some of the other recent animated films, this one goes over the top. This is in a category above anything that I've seen in a long time.
And what's so exciting is, I'm sure it'll be a big hit, and so now with Roger Rabbit and with this picture, we're really going, as we enter the 90s, we're really going to see the resurgence of animated films, and that's exciting.
And you have All Dogs Go to Heaven opening up within the next week,
well,
too.
I'll reserve my comments for that next week.
Okay, well, I will, too. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back to review Back to the Future Part 2, starring time travelers Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, and All Dogs Go to Heaven, an animated adventure about some criminal canines, one of them featuring the voice of Burt Reynolds. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Nestle Crunch. It's creamy milk chocolate and crispy crunchies. Chocolate is scrunchious when it crunches. That's why you'll love Nestle Crunch. Exclamation. Make a statement without saying a word. Punctuate the air with wit and style. Exclamation. A now kind of fragrance from Coty. Special Dinners brand cat food now offers 2 great-tasting varieties and 1 economical 3-pound, easy-to-carry twin pack. Special cats like yours deserve the special taste of Special Dinners. Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Now with 30 flavors, you can serve it every day for a month and never serve the same dish twice.